Good evening. Good evening. It is a joy and a pleasure to welcome all of you to this baccalaureate service as we come together in Gray Chapel on the eve of commencement. I want to thank the students who have worked with Chaplain Johns and with others in preparation for this gathering as we celebrate our graduating seniors and as they lead us in reflection in response to their years on this campus. We're thrilled to have with us not only members of the graduating class, but family and friends, both physically here in Gray Chapel and live streaming, watching from across the country and indeed from all over the world. We welcome you. I am intrigued by and grateful for this topic that our students have chosen, seasons of becoming. I can't think of a better way to reflect on 4, 3, 5, however many years on this campus than to think about the seasons of becoming. A wise person once says, "To everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven." And you're coming to the end of the season that was your time on this campus. I'm in the same position. 15 years ago, as I stood right here behind this podium in Gray Chapel at my inaugural, I suggested that we who are leaders are stewards for a season of a treasure. I've had the honor for 15 years to experience a season on this campus and for 3 or 4 or 5 years to share with you that season. You have been students for a season right here at the treasure that is Ohio Wesleyan. It's not the season you expected. Those of you who arrived 4 years ago had no idea when you arrived that before your first year was finished, you would be told at spring break, you can't come back. And we'd be in the grips of a pandemic. And your college experience would not be as you had thought it would be. And yet here we are 4 years later coming to the end of the season, not the season you expected, but a season in which you have made the commitment to flourish. And you have found that it can be, even in the grips of a pandemic, a season of becoming. So I salute you, I welcome all of you, and I'm grateful that we can share this time together. Thank you.
Each of the Ohio Wesleyan University Religious Life Awards honors an individual who exemplifies a faithful witness to the ethical, spiritual, and missional values of Ohio Wesleyan University, as those are delineated in the university's charter and statement of aims, and demonstrated in leadership both on the campus and in the community, including, especially, their faith community. On the spot that is now Beagley Library, there once stood an old church, St. Paul's Methodist. St. Paul's minister of music was Bliss Wyant. Bliss and his wife Mildred, both alums of Ohio Wesleyan, left Delaware to live for 30 years in China as missionaries teaching music and English, but more importantly, promoting international peace and understanding. The Wyants returned to Delaware to teach us about the richness and the great work of Chinese culture. And some of their Chinese hymns are in the United Methodist hymnal. The Bliss and Mildred Wyant Award was established in their honor to remember the importance of leadership, which promotes interfaith and intercultural understanding. And the 2023 recipients are Nestor Cook, and Samavi Sultana. Please come forward.
While at OWU, Nestor has brought a solid dedication to interfaith dialogue and community on campus. As the moderator of the Interfaith House, Nestor has helped anchor that community and give it a foundation to rebuild from struggle to strength. Beyond that, Nestor also worked to educate the community about religious traditions, such as modern neo-paganisms and Unitarian Universalism. Nestor has been vital to strengthening interfaith dialogue on campus. Likewise, Samavi has been a committed leader on campus. As the president of Tawhid, she has helped keep our Muslim community active and engaged. From working with her peers to provide iftar dinners and mosque trips during Ramadan, to working with the chaplain's office to update resources for Muslim students on campus, Samavi has been front and center in making sure that those who practice Islam find welcome and belonging at OWU. Thank you, Nestor and Samavi, for all the ways that you have added to this interfaith community through your life here with us, and blessings to you as your journeys continue. Thank you.
Until his passing, Emeritus Chaplain James Leslie was the conscience of this campus. For 55 years, with punishing wit and gentle grace, the prophetic voice of Chaplain Leslie was a clarion call for social justice at Ohio Wesleyan. The Chaplain James Leslie Award was established in his honor to remember the importance of leadership which promotes peace and justice. And the 2023 recipients are Jeremiah Anderson and Millie Rocco.
So unfortunately, Jeremiah was unable to be here with us tonight, but we still want to celebrate him. And so both in and out of the classroom, Jeremiah has placed justice at the center of his life at OWU. Through both community building and protest, he has used his time as president of the Black Student Union and in his Black World Studies classes to both explore and live ways to create better and more equitable spaces in which he and others exist. And in service and leadership, Millie has also lived with justice at the core of her life. Through leadership in PRISM, our LGBTQ+ student group, and through leadership on spring break service teams, Millie has shown us how to use our hands to build physical homes and our lives to build homes of welcome for all those who are pushed to the margins. So thank you, Jeremiah and Millie, for all of the ways that you have added to this community through your life here with us, and blessings to you as your journeys continue.
It is not by curious accident that Ohio Wesleyan University is nicknamed the Bishops. Ohio Wesleyan has produced a significant number of Methodist bishops. Many of you have lived in residence halls named after some of them. Francis Gerald Inslee was one of our bishops, particularly known for his dedication to Christian education and Christian mission. The Bishop Francis Gerald Inslee Award was established in his honor to remember the importance of leadership, which promotes a strong relationship between church and college. and as one of the results of strong church-college ties, strong Christian mission, and witness in the world. The 2023 recipients are Allison Amstutz and Josie Fornaro.
Quiet and powerful, Allison has lived her Christian faith at OWU as a faithful member of the outdoor ministry team for 3 years and as an active member of Crew and a discipleship Bible study. Always giving generously of her time, as a leader on last year's wilderness trek to the Everglades, her stable and supporting presence helped shape the space for others to pause and reflect on their own faiths. Encouraging and committed, Josie spent much of her freshman year actively embracing our Newman Catholic community and worked diligently to support her Catholic peers through the trials of COVID. As a leader on several wilderness treks, her skill as a reflection leader and her energy and encouragement helped others to challenge themselves beyond their comfort zones, to deepen their own connection to their faith in the midst of natural beauty. Thank you, Allison and Josie, for all of the ways that you have added to this community through your life there with us, and blessings to you as your journeys continue.
In the 1990s, Tabin Blake was an OWU student, an employee with buildings and grounds, housekeeping, and information systems, the director of the Gospeleers, a deeply committed Christian, and a source of perpetual joy and care to those around him. He was Ohio Wesleyan University's Goodwill Ambassador, always a warm greeting for everyone, even the most curmudgeonly among us. The Tabin Blake Servant Leader Award was established in his memory to remember the importance of leadership, which promotes the full scope of the university's informal motto, education for leadership and service. The 2023 recipients are Graham Steed and Miles Steed.
From leading a spring break service team to moderating the Service, Learning, and Engagement House in the SLU community, Graham has left an indelible mark on Ohio Wesleyan through his servant leadership. His dedicated ethic and relentless competency, regardless of fame or acclaim, have reminded us what great leadership can be. And from disaster recovery to local tutoring, Miles has also left us better as a community than we were before. He cares for both people and the world in ways that center the need rather than himself. As has been noted elsewhere, through his leadership, Miles brings people together, creating community and memories. Thank you, Graham and Miles, for all of the ways that you have added to this community through your life with us, and blessings to you as your journeys continue.
From 1948 to 1958, Dr. Arthur Fleming served as president of Ohio Wesleyan University. At President Eisenhower's invitation, he left OWU in 1958 to become the first U.S. Secretary of Health, Education, and Welfare. In 1966, the New York Times wrote that Dr. Fleming was an evangelist for good government. His soft-spoken but outspoken demeanor helped him examine America's social ills, especially racism and health care, in an unflinching and caring way. The Dr. Arthur Fleming Award was established in his memory to encourage the continued guidance of civic and political life by spiritual and intellectual nurture. The 2023 recipient is Sarah Smith.
In her time at OWU, Sarah has, like Dr. Fleming, used her soft-spoken but outspoken demeanor to help improve life here. As a persistent advocate for accessibility, Sarah organized a disability and LGBTQ+ panel and helped found a new student organization called Bishops for Accessibility. Her consistent attempts to raise awareness and improve life at OWU for students with accessibility needs have been a powerful call for our civic life. And we look forward to seeing what comes of her internship this summer with the National Association of Councils on Developmental Disabilities. Thank you, Sarah, for all of the ways that you have added this community through your life with us, and blessings to you as your journey continues.
Robert Meyer was Vice President for Business at Ohio Wesleyan for over 2 decades. He was known for his strong ethics, his personal care of people from all walks of life, and his lifelong commitment to community service. The Robert and Betty Meyer Award was established in their honor to remember the importance of campus administrators and staff who faithfully live the historic mission of Ohio Wesleyan in all aspects of their life, so as to enrich both church and society. The 2023 recipient is Chris Bowie.
So also, unfortunately, Chris can't be with us tonight because he is, as he is so often, currently at a track meet with our students. Despite the fact that it's commencement weekend, I clearly don't know how sports work. Yet we want to recognize Coach Bowie and all that he brings to campus. Through both many years as the advisor for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes and as a respected track and field coach, Chris supports the students around him with deep care and perspective, at the same time as he challenges them to improve and grow. So thank you, Chris, for all of the ways that you have added this community through your life with us, and blessings to you as your journey continues.
Another one of our Ohio Wesleyan bishops who served the church with intellect and grace was Bishop Francis Emner Kearns. As a life trustee at Ohio Wesleyan, Bishop Kearns was especially dedicated to maintaining and strengthening the teaching faculty and the university's United Methodist connection. The Bishop Francis Emner Kearns Award was established in his honor to remember the importance of professors who faithfully live the historic mission of Ohio Wesleyan in all aspects of their life, so as to enrich both church and society. The 2023 recipient is Dr. Antron Mahoney.
From the moment he arrived on campus, Students have been invigorated by Dr. Mahoney's innovative and insightful teaching. In the classroom, he bridges Black studies and gender studies in brilliant ways that students latch onto and carry with them into other spaces. Outside of the classroom, his ideas and insights continue to resonate through co-curricular events, from challenging fraternity men to rethink assumptions about masculinity, to offering insights on the intersection of religion and sexuality. So thank you, Dr. Mahoney, for all of the ways that you have added to this community through your life lived here with us, and blessings to you as your journey continues.
Good evening, everyone. The Guy Sarvis Award was established in honor of Dr. Sarvis by Stephen Ohlendorf. Dr. Sarvis was a professor of sociology at Ohio Wesleyan University and devoted much of his life to promoting and living by example the virtues and values of cross-cultural understanding and sensitivity to racial and religious diversity. This award is given jointly by the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Council and the Chaplain's Office to a student who has a demonstrated record of fostering cross-cultural understanding and contributed to the creation of a culture of hospitality and inclusion at OWU. This year's recipient is an individual I have had the pleasure of walking alongside since her arrival at OWU. I have been her academic advisor since day one, so I have had a front row seat to so much of what she has accomplished and the lasting impact those things will have on our campus community. I am a believer, someone who relies on discernment, that quiet inner voice that tells us the things that we can't see with our naked eye, that sees beyond how or what people present. And the very first day I met her, I knew that she was special. But even that quiet, still voice honestly did not fully give me a sense of how truly and incredibly special she was, or the ways that she would change this campus and change me. And so it is with such incredible pride that I get to present the 2023 recipient of the Guy Sarvis Award to Jada Respris.
All right, hello everyone, and I'm Allison. I'm along with Josie and Samavi. We are the Baccalaureate student coordinators for this year, and we're so glad to welcome you to the class of 2023 Baccalaureate service. We are so glad you could join us for this interfaith celebration and reflection of our time together at OWU.
This year's theme for our celebration is Seasons of Becoming. For the class of 2023, our college experience has been defined by periods of change and transition. We have been through seasons of abundant happiness, righteous anger, unspeakable grief, uncertainty, contentment, and every other part of the human experience. No matter what challenges or triumphs these seasons have brought us, the class of 2023 has responded with resilience and compassion. Though our time as Ohio Wesleyan students is over, our future is an open book. Who knows what we may yet become?
During this part of the service, you will hear from a few graduating seniors about their experiences from various faith traditions. As we move forward, we hope to take with us the lessons and memories that we have gained during our time at Ohio Wesleyan and carry them with us as we navigate the next seasons of our becoming. We hope you enjoy the rest of the evening.
My spirituality was not something I discussed once I arrived on campus in the fall of 2019. In fact, it wasn't something that I discussed with any of my peers the 3.5 years following my first day on campus. That is, until I went to Utah. If you're thinking this is going to be a found God moment, like most stories you hear of ministry trips, you are absolutely correct. But it wasn't just a moment, and it wasn't just that I reconnected with my spirituality. I learned how to love God, how to take life slower, and how to let go and put my worth and faith in God. I want to briefly share a few lessons from the trip that I've continued to carry with me since. First is slowing down. A quote by Edward Abbey from The Journey Home. There are some good things to be said about walking. Not many, but some. Walking takes longer, for example, than any other form of locomotion except crawling. Thus, it stretches time and prolongs life. Life is already too short to waste on speed. I have a friend who's always in a hurry. He never gets anywhere. Walking makes the world much bigger and thus more interesting. You have time to observe the details. To be everywhere at once is to be nowhere forever. This quote was one we read at the beginning of our trek. And on our trek, we spent a lot of time slowing down. We walked a lot, took time to play, to sit by ourselves, and yes, to crawl. I don't think I have ever sat outside for over an hour by myself and not slept the whole time. But it was in moments of solitude where I truly felt free and at peace. With no thoughts running in my head, only what was in front of me, I sat on the ground with nature, and that is where I felt closest to God. All of the stressors waiting for me back home, or even my fears of the cold night to come, didn't matter. I felt safe and at peace. Second is relationship. A quote from Searching for God Knows What by Donald Miller. There are honestly about 1 million ways Christians worship, and about that many different groups say a person becomes a Christian. Trusting Christ, really placing all my faith in him, seemed quite meaningful and simple. It also seemed relational, not formulaic. And my gut tells me the key to life is relational, not propositional. One of the strongest things that regrounded my faith was knowing that my relationship with God was between me and him. Before this trek, I was hesitant to re-immerse myself in the Catholic faith. The teachings of Jesus have gotten lost in the institutionalized versions of the Catholic Church I had experienced. And with that, I got lost in understanding whether I fit with the church or not anymore. But after my alone time in the deserts of Utah, sitting with my group that does not shy away from difficult questions, and reflection in the weeks since, I know there is no formula to know Jesus, and I find so much comfort knowing that. Lastly, I learned that my faith journey doesn't stop after leaving the wilderness and returning to the real world. While I was reluctant to come home, I now had a community to continue this journey with. Since we returned from our wilderness trek, our group has done a book club. We've met every Wednesday since, to discuss readings from the book, Searching for God Knows What. This group makes space for each other to question things and grow in our understanding of Jesus. I finally found a community where I can talk about my faith. While I wish I found them sooner, I wouldn't trade this semester's experience for anything. I wish we had more time together, but I can't thank them enough for helping me get to where I am now and for aiding me in growing as a person and in my spiritual journey. Thank you.
During my 4 years at Ohio Wesleyan, I have had the privilege of participating in 5 wilderness treks during fall and spring breaks. On wilderness treks, OWU students spend several days hiking and backpacking, while also reflecting on their relationship with faith and spirituality, their relationship with the natural world and creation, their relationships with others, and their relationship with themselves. While I have gained a surplus of fond memories and new friendships from my wilderness trek experiences, perhaps the most transformative part of these trips for me was learning to practice attentiveness and to be intentional in the cultivation of these 4 relationships. Through wilderness treks, I was also introduced to the work of Mary Oliver, an American poet who often wrote about the outdoors and connected it to questions of faith. I want to share with you now 2 Mary Oliver poems that speak to the love that grows only when we pay careful attention to something, be it an object, idea, or relationship, and the way that quiet and stillness can do far more for the soul than the rigid theological and moral principles to which we so often cling. The first poem is called Praying. It doesn't have to be the blue iris. It could be weeds in a vacant lot or a few small stones. Just pay attention, then patch a few words together, and don't try to make them elaborate. This isn't a contest, but the doorway into thanks, and a silence in which another voice may speak. The second poem is called The Summer Day. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean. The one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life?
Good evening, everyone. Hi. My name is Tinyolua Olusholalo, T for short, T for even shorter. I'm a native of Nigeria, a senior here at Ohio Wesleyan University, and I will be graduating tomorrow, which is crazy, huh? The theme for this baccalaureate event is Seasons of Becoming. And I thought that was particularly poignant because everything has a start and everything has an end. But the journey in between largely defines the experience. It is the experience at its core. And as a person who likes music a little bit, I decided to try and chronicle some of the feelings in the in-betweens while I was a student here, so to speak. So I'm about to perform a piece that I wrote for piano in 2021 called Sonder. Sonder is defined as the feeling or the emotional response that you get when you become familiar or refamiliarize yourself with the fact that everyone is experiencing the world around them completely differently from you. And I think that's particularly, I think that's incredibly poignant, as mentioned. And I think as someone who came here to play music, I'm definitely talking way too much now, meaning I'm going to stop and do what I do best. So enjoy, sit back, listen, and enjoy to this piece called Thunder. Thank you for this opportunity. And yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. I stand before you not only as a fellow graduate, but also as a Muslim who's grateful for the teachings of the Quran that have helped me throughout this journey. I would like to share with you some of the verses that have given me hope and provided guidance as I navigated the challenges of college life. In Surah Taha, Allah instructs us to say, "My Lord, increase me in knowledge." This verse has been a constant reminder to me of the importance of seeking knowledge and striving to learn and grow. In Surah Al-Balad, Allah tells us that He has created us in the best of stature. This verse has helped me recognize the inherent value and dignity of all human beings, including myself and my fellow graduates. In Surah Al-Inshirah, Allah reminds us that with hardship comes ease. This verse has given me hope and comfort during difficult times, knowing that relief and ease will come after the hardships. The message is reinforced in Surah Al-Insan, where Allah repeats the same verse twice. So verily, with every difficulty, there's relief. This has been a powerful reminder that no matter how difficult things may seem, there are always a light at the end of the tunnel. And finally, in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah assures us that He does not burden a soul beyond that it can bear. As I conclude my speech, I would like to share a prayer that has been dear to me since my childhood. It's a dua, a prayer in Urdu authored by Muhammad Iqbal in 1902 called Labbe Aati Hai Dua. I remember reciting this dua in morning school assembly every day, and I would like to conclude my undergraduate journey reciting the same dua. Labbe aati hai dua banke tamanna meri, zindagi shamma ki surat ho khudaya meri, dur duniya ka mere dam se andhera ho jaye, har jagah mere chamakne se ujala ho jaye, हो मेरे दम से यूं ही मेरे वतन की जीनत, जिस तरह फूल से होती है चमन की जीनत, ज़िंदगी हो मेरी परवाने की सूरत या रब, इल्म की शम्मा से हो मुझको मोहब्बत या रब, हो मेरा काम गरीबों की हिमायत करना, दर्दमंदों से ज़ईफ़ों से मोहब्बत करना, मेरे अल्लाह बुराई से बचाना मुझको, नेक जो राह हो उस पे चलाना मुझको. My longing comes to my lips as a supplication of mine. O God, may like a shining candle be the life of mine. May the darkness of this world disappear through this life of mine. May every place light up with the sparkling light of mine. May my homeland through me attain elegance, just as the garden through flowers attains elegance. May my life be like that of the moth, O Lord. May my love be for the beacon of knowledge, O Lord. May my life's way be to support the needy and to love the old and the grief-stricken. My God, protect me from the evil ways. Walk me through the path that leads to virtue. As we move on to the next stage of our lives, I hope that these verses can also provide guidance and support to you. Let us seek knowledge, recognize the inherent value and dignity of all human beings, and remain hopeful and resilient in the face of challenges. Congratulations to the class of 2023, and may Allah bless us all on this journey. Thank you.
So I didn't have time to print out mine, so. Well, hopefully this doesn't die on me. The religion I grew up in, Unitarian Universalism, has 7 principles that we try to incorporate into our values, actions, and the way we practice our faith. As the moderator for the Interfaith SLU, I think that 3 of them have been particularly relevant. The 3rd principle, which is the acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. The 4th principle, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. And the 6th principle, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. While the Interfaith SLU is not a congregation per se, Our mission is to promote acceptance and spiritual growth for both ourselves and the wider campus community. To that point, the sixth principle, in my mind, has really come into play. Ohio Wesleyan is a diverse campus with students from all over the country and the world with different cultural and religious backgrounds. Religion is often a source of division and violence, as well as at times injustice across the world. I and my housemates have worked to provide a space at Ohio Wesleyan where it is instead a source of community and understanding. This year, we organized 2 events with Hillel, one for Hanukkah and another for a regular Shabbat, to share with the campus what Jewish faith and practices look like. My house project shared about less well-known modern faiths, specifically modern polytheist and pagan faiths. The house projects in general this year ranged in spectrum, from an interfaith fair to a talk on exploring your faith. I think that with Interfaith, we have shown how to conduct a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, and how interfaith education and understanding is a vital part of that. Everyone's truth and meaning is different, and the best way to discover your own is through understanding that of others. And with projects like mine and the ones I facilitated, like the Interfaith Fair, making and learning about luck charms, prayer bead session, and the speaker on the exploration of faith, among others, we have demonstrated how to do so with respect and created the beginnings of a strong interfaith community on campus. Relatedly, I am truly proud of what we have accomplished with Interfaith this year. The house had been struggling for several years, and we were on extended probation. In the course of 1 semester, we became visible on campus, completed 6 house projects, began seriously working and speaking with other faith groups on campus, and fulfilled all the other requirements of our probation. We're now on par with other SLUs, and the future moderator and house members only have to fill out the regular renewal applications next year. We had 9 prospective members apply and 5 new members join us, with a total of 10 members going into next year. I am thrilled to be leaving Interfaith on such a strong note and having an amazing successor in Mila Morris as the moderator.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Adarsha, and it is my honor to be here today to share a bit of my experience at OWU. The Baccalaureate is a very special event for me. It is a time for us to reflect on our spiritual journeys at OWU and to come together as a community to celebrate our shared values. I began my undergraduate studies at OWU in the fall of 2020, online for a year from India. I only began in-person classes in fall of 2021, and now I'm graduating from Ohio Wesleyan early, within 3 years of beginning my studies. Although my time at Ohio Wesleyan was relatively short-lived, I am grateful to have been exposed to various cultural perspectives. At Horizons International and IOCP events, I got to experience and taste different cultures, traditions, and foods. At Campus Programming Board, I was directly involved in programming events in collaboration with OMSA, Horizons, Circle K, the Black Caucus, and various organizations aimed towards educating, supporting, and advocating for marginalized students. In the WCSA, I had the opportunity to oversee funding allocations and advocated for higher allocation for multicultural events and events that promote DEI. I am a strong believer in the Sanskrit phrase, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which means the world is one family. Despite the many differences we all have, humanity has proved that phrase many times throughout history, whether that be with the eradication of smallpox, launching of the International Space Station, humanitarian aid provided during crises with no exceptions, reduction of the use of hydrofluorocarbons, and signing the Paris Accord for fighting climate change, and many more instances. We all have come together, keeping aside any and all differences and prejudices. I believe that OWU is a place where Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is truly embodied. Here, we are all from different backgrounds, but we are all united by our shared values of respect, compassion, and understanding. And I am so grateful to have had the opportunity to be a part of this community. As I reflect on my time at OWU, I'm filled with gratitude. I am grateful for my parents, faculty and staff like Dr. Sean McCullough, Dr. Nicholas Dietrich, and Elaine Chun, and friends like Colby Brock and Annie Marazita, who've helped me become who I am today. I have learned that it is okay to be different, that it is important to stand up for what you believe in, and that the world is a beautiful place full of people who are willing to help each other. So as I graduate and leave OWU tomorrow, I do so with a sense of hope and optimism. I believe that the world is a better place because of the time I have spent here, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for me and the world. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I don't know how I'm going to follow Tian, but we'll do our best. This song is by Sleeping at Last, and he wrote it for his daughter, who is like when she was born. I see God in symmetry. I see God in our make-believe. I see God in our grand attempts to make something beautiful before life ends. I see God in irony, in fragile heirlooms within children's You see God in ways I wish I could. Without assurance, without insurance, you believe. Without condition or the promise of heaven, you see the Holy Ghost in broad daylight, and I see the reflection in your eyes. I see the reflection in your eyes.
I am grateful to stand before you today and share a little bit about my faith journey during my time at OWU. One powerful moment that I experienced was at a conference called Jubilee. In a session titled Quiet Faith, there was a woman who shared a couple of examples of people who approached Jesus for healing in the book of Mark in the Bible. One went by the name of Bartimaeus and approached Jesus boldly and loudly in a more extroverted manner. Another was a woman who merely touched Jesus' cloak in a quiet and humble manner to be healed. The speaker challenged us to think about what we might think faith looked like if we only looked at the personality of one of the individuals in the stories. We might conclude that faith requires a loud and boisterous and bold person, while reading the second story may leave us feeling that an introverted, meek, and humble person has the most faith. She then shared a quote by Amy Patrick that reads, "The lie I'm most tempted to believe is that the way God has wired me is incompatible with the life He's called me to live." This struck me and helped me to recognize how purposefully we are all created as a part of the body, even if we don't feel it. As in both situations, Jesus responds by saying, "Go, your faith has made you well." In a world that can seem busy and loud, it is just as important to seek the stillness and slowness and quietness. I saw the added beauty and depth in the fact that both people from this story showed their faith, even though it's displayed differently. Spending time outdoors and intentionally reflecting on Scripture has allowed me to have so much rest and joy in this way. I've seen firsthand how God has provided in surrounding me with amazing people and experiences to walk through life with, along with revealing connections through seeking solitude. It is because of this time spent alone that I can come to appreciate the value that others bring. Being in community with other people, coupled with solitude, has given me so much more perspective and depth than would have been possible otherwise. I would not be anywhere near where I am today without the love and faithfulness of the Lord. Some scripture that's helped me to get a stronger picture of purpose for every season comes from Jeremiah 18, verses 1 through 6. This is the word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord. "Go down to the potter's house, and there I will give you my message." So I went down to the potter's house, and I saw him working at the wheel. But the pot, he was shaping from the clay was marred in his hands, so the potter formed it into another pot, shaping it as it seemed best to him. Then the word of the Lord came to me. He said, "Can I not do with you, Israel, as this potter does, declares the Lord. Like clay in the hand of a potter, so are you in my hand, Israel." As God is the artist and the potter, we are the canvas and the clay. This scripture has reinforced the need for recognizing the rich coherency in the world and how we are constantly being shaped, molded, and refined by others, our experiences, and our faith. Today, may we, like Jesus, recognize and have gratitude for the value that each fearfully and wonderfully made person and experience has had to help shape us, and oh, the places you'll go. Thank you.
Lately, as I walk beside the small run that dances between the line of our university and the neighboring downtown area, I physically stopped to listen. Until recently, that never really happened before. I want to point out, while I do love a good nature moment, I am always the friend invited along to hikes or walks because I barely ever seek them out for myself. When I'm outside, I usually find a great appreciation for the beauty around me, be that the people, the world, an overfed squirrel. Before, I often preferred the wonderful graphics of plants in video games, or poring over breathtaking descriptions of a decadent woods in a fantasy book. And even though I loved those things, I never thought to put myself into something that I, in every other medium, found so moving. But now, after all this time, I can stop and listen to the water. I can taste the difference in the air, the way things grow, the way life moves. It's all noticeable in a way I had lost touch with. Not having a strong association or connection in any personal way to a particular spiritual faith group while growing up and into myself, though not for the lack of trying, it just made me feel like I was never a part of anything bigger. So, as any very normal child would do, I made friends on playgrounds, and we made our own covens. We collected acorns and tore ivy from rusted fences at recess. We snuck Dixie cups from lunch to collect sap from trees that we used to stick together mulch. And, brace yourselves, we were also pretending to be cats. Thank you, Warrior Cats, the series. Though it may seem silly, I don't think I've changed much in the grand scheme of it all. Here in college, where I didn't know anyone or anything coming in, I was given a vast, empty plain. I started small, of course, but over these years, I've laid strong roots. I connected with people who gave me shiny rocks or homegrown teas. I've become well acquainted with the trees and the birds that line Sandusky. I've become myself again. The child smiling at the world after years of confusion and growing up shook the leaves from my branches. But after all this time, I'm still just a person, putting my hands to the earth to feel something, to connect with something bigger than myself, literally, metaphorically, and spiritually. I'm feeling the run, I'm breathing the water, I'm holding the ripples in my hands. My soul's flame was stoked during a time of doubt, loss, and lockdowns. I want to share with you the nature of our way from Cunningham's Book of Shadows, something I just happened to stumble upon when the world seemed distant and far away. It brought me back to the ground, to my friends, and to my spirit. As often as possible, hold rites in forests, by seashores and on deserted mountaintops, or near tranquil lakes. Seek out wisdom in books, rare manuscripts, and cryptic poems, if you will, but seek it out also in simple stones and fragile herbs and in the cry of wild birds. Listen to the whisperings of the wind and the roar of water if you would discover magic, for it is there that old secrets are preserved. Books contain words, but trees contain energies and wisdoms book never dreamt of. Ever remember that the old ways are constantly revealing themselves. Therefore, be as the river willow that bends and sways with the wind. That which remains changeless shall outlive its spirit, but that which evolves and grows will shine for centuries. Thank you.
At this time, we would like to invite the seniors to the stage to sing the alma mater. We invite you to bring your programs with you where the lyrics are listed, because I've been told several times today nobody knows them. And audience, we invite you to rise and sing along as well. So as we come to the end of our baccalaureate service, I find myself filled with gratitude for the folks you have heard tonight and so many others. And so as we close for this evening and as you prepare for commencement tomorrow, I invite you to receive this benediction. As you look to the seasons that have passed, may you find wisdom that you may see where you have been and who you have become. And as you look to the turning of the season in this moment, the ways in which you have been made and unmade and remade, in the churn and changing of becoming, may you find joy in who you are. And as old seasons end and new begin, may your becoming ever continue into justice, into growth, and into the very heart of the divine. And may you always find your way to the ones you call home. Amen.